If you're a high achieving woman who's done everything right and still feel like your finances are not where they should be, I need you to stay with me for this one. I'm Jamila McClooney, and I'm a licensed fiduciary financial advisor. I've been doing this work for 16 years, and I'm certified in the trauma of money. I founded Black Wealth Financial to work specifically with high earners who are building real careers, making real money, and still feels financially stuck in ways they just can't fully explain. My work has been featured on Yahoo Finance and CNBC. And on this channel, we have the conversations that most financial advisors just aren't equipped to have. Today, we're going into something that I've dealt with personally and I see in my clients every single week. The most important thing I want you to know before we start is this: you're not the only one. Let's work. So there are 5 financial trauma patterns that show up specifically in high achieving women. Most financial content never names them, and the women living them have spent years believing the problem was something personal, something broken in them specifically. It's not. By the end of this video, you're going to recognize all 5. And I think for a lot of you, it's going to be the first time that anyone has put something to words that you've been carrying for a very long time. I want to start here because this is the one that gets missed the most. You know your numbers, you track everything, right? You check your accounts more than probably that you need to. You've never missed a bill. You've never overdrafted. From the outside, you look like someone who's excellent with money. And you are. But here's what I want to ask you. Does it ever feel like you can't turn it off? Like even when the account balance is fine, there's a low hum of anxiety that just lives underneath everything. You might be at dinner and you're mentally doing math. You wake up at 3 a.m. running numbers that don't need to be run, obviously, at 3 in the morning. You check the account, not because you need new information, but because the checking itself is what keeps the anxiety kind of manageable. If that's you, I need you to hear something. This is not just how you are with money. This is what happens when your nervous system learned at some point that not paying attention had consequences. Maybe money was unpredictable in the house you grew up in, or maybe things shifted suddenly and without warning. Maybe you watched a parent lose sleep over finances, and your body filed that away as money is something you have to watch constantly, or something will go wrong. And so you watch it constantly. The problem is that the pattern, which protected you then, is limiting you now. Because that same nervous system that's exceptional at managing what already exists is terrified of expansion. It's terrified of risk, of putting money somewhere it can't watch it and be controlled and checked every day, all day. So this woman stays more conservative than her actual situation calls for. She holds more cash than she needs to. She hesitates on investments that make complete sense on paper because that uncertainty feels like the threat her body's been waiting for. And over 20 years, that caution will cost her in compounding returns that she can't get back. I dealt with a version of this myself, and what I know from the other side is this: that vigilance was never the problem. It was an intelligent response to an environment that required it at the time. But the work is not to stop paying attention. The work is actually to let your nervous system learn that it's safe to expand, that the shift changes everything once you do that. And I think it's important to recognize in these patterns how we're talking obviously about how they show up in your money, but it's important to recognize how these things show up in different areas of your life, maybe in your intimate relationships or your friendships, the way that you work. You know, we're not compartmentalized, so the things that we do kind of spill over into other places. So the way that you manage and have this hypervigilance that we just talked about in pattern 1 may be how you do and move about in your relationship. So pay attention to that and see where you can identify these things if you find yourself in these 5 patterns of where they are in other places in your life. So let's look at pattern 2. Pattern 2 involves doing everything alone. You just do everything by yourself. Every financial decision, every account, every research rabbit hole at midnight. You handle it all because that's just how you are. Except what I want to offer you is a different way to look at it. What if that's not just how you are? What if that's what you learned? At some point in your life, depending on other people financially, either didn't work out or it didn't feel safe. And maybe you watched someone you loved get let down by a person or a system that they trusted. Maybe you were in a situation where the safety net you thought was there was not. Maybe needing help was associated with shame or vulnerability in a way that didn't feel okay. And so you decided, whether you did it consciously or not, that the safest position is the one where you control everything yourself. And that decision's probably served you. It's a part of why you are where you are today and maybe the things that you've accomplished in life, but it's costing you. Because the financial life that you've built at this point is genuinely complex, right? The tax situation, the investment strategy, the estate planning, the insurance review, the retirement picture, all of that, these require professional support. But not because you're not fully capable of figuring it out, because the situation requires someone who can see the full picture from outside of it. You don't see a surgeon operating on themselves, not because they don't lack the skill to, but because you need someone who's not inside the thing they're trying to fix. So the woman who manages everything alone is paying what I call a self-sufficiency tax. And over 20 years, that tax adds up to hundreds of thousands of dollars in suboptimal decisions made without the right guidance. The women I work with who shift this pattern, they don't become dependent, they become strategic, and that's a very different thing. They build a team that they can actually trust, they delegate what needs to be delegated, and they use their own considerable intelligence to evaluate and direct the process instead of trying to execute every single piece of it themselves. And that's not a weakness to do that, it's actually leverage. And you deserve to have leverage. Let's look at pattern 3. Pattern 3, you're everyone's financial safety net. But your own. So you're the person that everybody calls, the family member who needs help with rent, the friend in a financial crisis, the person who always picks up the tab, always covers the gap, always finds a way to make it work for everyone else. And you do it because you love the people and because you remember what it felt like to need help and maybe not have it. Because being able to show up for the people that you care about is one of the most meaningful things about having built what you've built. And I understand that completely. I do, and I've seen myself in this pattern as well. You'll see maybe you're not all of one pattern. You might seep into other patterns that we're going to talk about. But I want to show you something. I want to show you with the average high achieving woman that I work with who carries this pattern, what she does. She sends anywhere between $1,000 to $3,000 a month outside of her own household to family or people that she loves. So let's just use a middle number here of $1,500 a month. Let's say you spend $1,500 a month as a conservative number. 1,500 times 12, that's $18,000 a year. $18,000 a year. And if you'd invested that same $18,000 and you could get a 7% average return, annual return, which is a conservative number, and let's say you could get that over 20 years on that same $18,000. Do you know that if that same amount of money that you give every year was invested at this rate, that's $784,000 over that 20-year period. That's almost $800,000, which is almost $1 million. Now, that's not the money that went out to help people. That's the money that never had the chance to compound or grow. That's the opportunity cost that you gave up because the $18,000 didn't have the opportunity to earn 7%, didn't have the opportunity to compound for 20 years, and didn't have the opportunity to grow to $784,000. Now, I want to be really clear about something because I know how this sounds. I'm not telling you to stop giving, right? I think people who give are amazing, wonderful people. I give. I like to give. Generosity is a nice value, and values matter. But what I'm saying is that giving that happens because saying no activates something unbearable in you or triggers you, giving out of that happens without a plan, without a limit, or without a strategy. Giving that consistently comes at the expense of your own financial stability, that's not generosity. That's a pattern that you've developed, that you're continuing, and it has a cost. So the women that I work with who shift this, they don't become selfish all of a sudden, but they become intentional. They decide how much they give, to whom they give, and under what conditions. And the giving becomes a line item in the financial plan instead of a wound that just drains the plan. Like you just have no idea what it's going to be, when it's going to be, and how much it's going to be. And here's what I find once we build that into the plan. The woman with the giving plan, she ends up giving more actually over her lifetime than the woman who gives out of reflexes, because she builds her foundation first, right? And a foundation that compounds gives her so much more to give from in year 20 than that reflex giver has available in year 5. All right. Let's go on over to pattern 4. Pattern 4 is you using your career as proof that your finances must be fine. This is one that sometimes catches people off guard because it's hiding behind the thing in most cases that you're most proud of. And here's what that looks like. You build an impressive career, the title, the income, the recognition, the external evidence of someone who has their life together. It's all around you. You got the car, you got the look, you got the bags, you look like you got some money. And somewhere along the way, that external evidence started doing a job that you may not have even noticed. It started telling you that you didn't need to look too closely at your financial situation or your foundation because your career is proof that things must be fine, right? Because somebody doing this well professionally obviously has it together financially too. Except those are two completely different things. Your career proves you can earn. It doesn't tell you whether what you've earned has been directed and protected and structured in a way that's going to hold if that income ever stopped. And here's what I see consistently in my firm. The more accomplished the woman, the more likely she is to have significant gaps in her financial infrastructure. Not because she's irresponsible, but because the achievement's been doing the work of reassurance and it's let certain things slide. So the estate plan might not exist, or her beneficiaries that haven't been updated since a previous relationship, or her life insurance has never been reviewed, or even that tax conversation that should have happened before December didn't happen because things got too busy. None of those things is a crisis really in isolation, but together over time, they're the difference between a financial life that's genuinely built and one that's earned but never quite secured. So your career's great, but it's not a substitute for looking directly at the financial picture. Both things can be true, and the second one is what we fix together, making sure that we get the financial picture together. Pattern 5, I see this a lot. Waiting until you're ready. Until you feel ready. So you're waiting until you feel ready, until you understand the market better, until the debt's smaller, until you find the right advisor, until things calm down a little bit, until you feel more calm. And I get it. You built your career by being prepared, by not moving until you were sure. That standard is part of why you are where you are. But here's where it breaks down when it comes to money. Investing doesn't reward certainty. It rewards time. And let me show you exactly what I mean. Let's take two women, same time, same income, we're going to change the time, but let's take two women, same income, same intelligence, same capacity. So let's say we got woman A over here, Woman A, she starts investing $2,000 a month. But she starts at age 32. She doesn't wait until she's ready. She starts. And woman B, she needs more time. She's waiting for something. She wants to feel certain. She wants to feel sure. She starts at 37. Same $2,000 a month, but she starts at age 37. Now that's only a 5-year difference. Let's look at what that looks like. I'm going to use my 7%, my conservative 7% annual return here, average annual return. So we've got both women, woman A, woman B, investing the same amount of money. The only difference is woman A started before, 5 years before. So if we have that $20,000 invested at a 7% average annual return, at age 62 for both of them, woman A would have approximately 2.4 million and woman B would have 1.6 million approximately. So that time when you're waiting for whatever you're waiting for of 5 years, it costs 800 racks, almost $1 million. And if you think about it, it wasn't because woman B made a bad decision, but it's because she waited to start making the right decisions. And that's the cost of waiting until it feels right. And here's the hard truth about that. It's never going to feel right. The market's always going to have uncertainty. There's always going to be a reason to wait a little longer. The certainty that you're waiting for is not going to come. What actually works is starting imperfectly before you're ready and letting time do the work that certainty never is going to have the ability to do. So done imperfectly at 32 is going to always beat done perfectly in our example at 37. You don't need to have it all figured out. You need to start. So what does it actually look like when these patterns shift, right? When you do get to that starting point. And I can tell you what I see in the women that I work with, and it might surprise you. It doesn't look like becoming a different person. It looks like the same woman making different decisions from a different place inside herself. The woman who used to check her accounts 5 times a day out of anxiety starts checking the item maybe once a week because she trusts that what she finds is still there and it's going to be there. She's not less careful though. She's less afraid. And the woman who managed everything alone, she builds a team that she actually trusts. She brings in a tax strategist. She gets the estate planning done. She delegates the things that need professional eyes. And she uses her own intelligence to lead the process instead of trying to execute every single piece of it herself and on her own. So we got the woman who's giving out of reflex. When she starts to give intentionally, she has a number, she has a plan, and the giving feels different because it's coming from a place of abundance that she consciously built instead of a wound that she's never even examined. And then we have the woman who's using her career as financial reassurance. She finally looks directly at the real picture. And what she finds is almost never as bad as the avoidance was telling her that it would be. It just needs attention. And attention is something that she's very good at. So the woman who's waiting to finally start when she's ready, not because she's suddenly certain, but because she finally understands that certainty is not the entrance requirement. She shifts, and those shifts don't happen because someone handed her a better spreadsheet. They happen because someone finally sat with her, named what was actually going on, and helped her build something that accounts for the full truth of who she is. If you did recognize yourself in this video, I want you to know something. You're not broken. You're not bad with money. You're brilliant, and you're probably accomplished. You've been carrying patterns that were formed in response to real experiences and real pressures. And nobody sat you down and named them clearly until right now. It's not a personal failure. It's just what happens when the financial conversation never goes deep enough to really get to the real thing. You deserve the real conversation. If you're ready to have it, The link to book a complimentary strategy call is in the description. It's 45 minutes, no pitch, no pressure, just you and me looking honestly at where you are and what's possible from here. If this video says something that a woman in your life needed to hear, please share it with her. You're not the only one, and neither is she. I'll see you in the next one.